what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another video for Borderlands 3, and in this one we're going to be taking a look at all of the legendary items from the new Guardian Takedown so far. I say so far because as it currently stands there only appears to be about 6 items, whereas if you kind of compare that to the previous Takedown it had around 10. Now whether that's just because we haven't necessarily discovered all of them will of course remain to be seen. The Takedown is kind of annoying. I mean, we've done it on Mayhem 10 and it's a bit of a slog to get through. The scaling is quite tough, and also the distinct lack of checkpoints makes it kind of frustrating. It's one of those weird things. I don't necessarily want to say that the bosses are hard per se, because when you actually get to the bosses, they're actually alright. They've got a few invulnerability phases, but once you get past that, it's actually not that difficult. What's more annoying is just the fact that if you mess up on the boss, you have to go all the way back and go through all these different phases where you hold plates and defend people for just a long time. It's just kind of annoying. So I really do hope Gearbox kind of adjust that or put a checkpoint in or something, because right now just farming things back to back isn't as fluid as it was in the previous Takedown. Anyway, with that being said, these are the items that we know of so far. So if you guys do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, and also let me know how you guys are getting on with the Takedown. Have you done it yourself? Have you got any good loot? Let me know in the comments. Now, starting off with the very first weapon, we have the Smog. This is a Hyperion SMG, and this one's rather interesting. It can roll in any element, including no element, if you I would say kind of get unlucky if that's the case, but either way, you can roll it in any different element, so of course you can farm it if you want to. This one drops from the final boss, the Scourge. In fact, all the weapons appear to drop from the final boss. You can still get things like shields and grenades from the earlier boss, but basically the majority of this stuff is going to come from the end game boss. Now this has decent damage, decent accuracy, good handling speed, reload speed, all that kind of good stuff. The magazine size is not too bad, and this isn't necessarily the fastest firing SMG. You'll notice that when you fire it, but it does have a rather interesting perk, and that is that the damage is amplified when the weapon shield is active and at maxed capacity. So of course you'll be familiar with the fact that Hyperion weapons, when you aim down sights, they bring up a little shield, and when you have the shield up and it's at max, your damage is amplified quite considerably. And if you actually look at this in action, you will notice that, if you have it maxed out and you're doing some damage, it does shred through enemies pretty quickly, but the second that takes some damage, you notice that drop off. So it is a potentially good SMG, but you need to pair it with the right kind of build. I'm just running my flak here. I'm not spec'd for this. This isn't necessarily something I built around this particular weapon. I would say if you're going to use this, maybe you'd consider using it with someone like Zane, just because you could then run with a shield. You can fire from behind the shield, and therefore you can stop yourself from taking damage on the Hyperion shield, and therefore make the most out of it. That's probably one of your best bets. Or alternatively, maybe you kind of do what I'm doing here with flak and just freeze enemies and then kind of go around. There's obviously ways around it, but the fact that you're an SMG user and you have to be up close, pair that with the fact that the shield is typically going to take hits all the time, it is quite a kind of balancing act, but if you can get it to work, the damage output is quite nice. Moving on from there to the second weapon. This one, again, comes from the final boss, from the Scourge. This is the Webslinger. Now, I kind of had high hopes for this, just because I like Spider-Man. The fact that it was called Webslinger, I was kind of just hoping it was going to be a good weapon. I'll be completely honest with you, this one is a bit rubbish. It looks cool, and when it fires out these sort of winding spiral-like web slingers from the gun barrel. That's kind of your bullets. They effectively look like as if you're shooting out a web shooter, and it does have a rather interesting alternate fire mode. Keep in mind, this is a Vladov assault rifle, so the typical fire is just that of an assault rifle, albeit with the spinny webs. Meanwhile, if you switch to the alternate fire mode, you instead have a charged launcher. So you charge this up, fires out a couple of high explosive beams. Doesn't necessarily seem to do that much damage. In fact, just across the board, this isn't necessarily a very strong weapon, especially considering it comes from the final boss. You'd think it may pack a punch or may be really good. Whether there's like a particular build that can make this good, again, remains to be seen. But as it currently stands, initial kind of impressions are this one is not it, chief. Let's put it that way. Following on from there, we then have the Globetrotter. This is a COV rocket launcher. This one's actually really cool. It's kind of a Easter egg for the Harlem Globetrotters, sort of basketball team and whatnot, because you'll see that by the way it fires. Effectively, when you fire this one, it fires out these discs along the ground. They can bounce off surfaces. They will then launch up into the air and they'll then plummet back down and explode. Now, interesting thing with these is damage output for this is actually really good. This could actually be potentially one of the stronger rocket launchers right now, given that Yellowcake has been nerfed. So it's almost like an improved version of the Agonizer. So definitely worth using. I will say in some situations, the shots seem to kind of just launch up into the sky and explode before they get back down, which doesn't necessarily do that much damage. But if you fire into the right crowd and you can kind of get these to proc in the right way, it does definitely have some good damage output. This can also roll in any element, so you can get this, you know, in any element and also without an element, which is what this one was. Kind of unfortunate. I'd quite like to have this with an element, but either way, again, that's something else to farm. Moving on from there, we've then got a couple of shields. The first one is the Asclepius. That is how you pronounce it. Despite the way it looks, it is not the Asclepius, it is the Asclepius. That is the Greek god of medicine from Greek mythology. But this one, the red text says always carry a small snake. And the main things worth noting for this one is you get plus 50% resistance to elemental status effects while your shield is deployed. Additionally, when damaged, you will regenerate 3% of max health per second for a few seconds, and you have a 15% chance to absorb bullets as ammo. That last one can, of course, change depending on the shield that drops and whatnot, and this one does also have an anointed bonus on action skill end. 30% of all damage taken is returned to the attacker for a short time. Your alternative option is the Stinger. Again, another shield. This time around, the red text says they don't let you use that no more. While full, your melee damage is increased by 50%, and it also returns 5,437 damage if meleeed while shielded. This one's anointed for the Siren, and on action skill end, 30% of all damage taken is returned to the attacker for a short time. So again, this one could potentially work if you were to pair it with, say, like a melee focused build, obviously having that kind of, you know, melee damage increase, but again, you know, you can pick and choose. And then finally, the last item right now is the Lightspeed Grenade. This one has, or the one that at least I've got, rolled with 11,214 damage, 98 radius. It's a longbow lightspeed type grenade. Basically, you throw this one, it teleports, and then it bounces off walls, and it also kind of disperses into multiple grenades. So it's kind of like a cluster grenade in that respect. It also has the additional bonus on action skill end. You gain 50% bonus corrosive damage with weapons for 10 seconds, which is actually quite nice in the takedown because a lot of weapons, or a lot of enemies, should I say, have armor. So, you know, that means that, say, for example, if you're in the first area and you're fighting the bugs, instead of having to swap to, say, a corrosive weapon to take down the armor and then swap to a incendiary weapon, you can instead just shoot them with an incendiary weapon and still get the bonus, you know, still get the corrosive bonus, rip through that, kill two birds with one stone. So that's actually quite nice. But the grenade itself, it bounces around a lot. I will say it's probably not the greatest on single targets because it teleports them and then just has a tendency to bounce away, but thrown into a crowd, you could definitely get some mileage out of this. But anyway, for the time being, that's it. That's a rundown of all the items so far that we've seen drop from the new Guardian Takedown. Again, if you guys have got any other new items that we haven't got in this list, by all means let me know in the comments down below. And also let me know if you like any of these items. Let me know if you've got any yourself. Maybe you've worked them into a new build. Anything like that, definitely let me know. Anyway, that's it for the time being. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to keep it locked for plenty more Borderlands content. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the Arekkz Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there. If you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with, it's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.